In 1992, Hollywood lost its legendary Rifleman, but Chuck Connors left behind far more than a hit TV show. He left a legacy packed with scandal and secrets that are only now coming to light. From his shocking role in Cold War diplomacy to the fiery affairs that nearly torched his career, Connors' life was a real-life Western. Bold, unpredictable, and larger than the screen he dominated. Now, decades later, the untold truth of his hidden alliances, controversial romances, and the battles he fought, off-camera is finally being revealed. Chuck Connors' early life. Born Kevin Joseph Aloysius Connors. On April 10, 1921 in Brooklyn, New York, Connors was a kid with big dreams in a city that never slept. The eldest of two children, Connors grew up in a tough world. His parents, Irish immigrants who arrived in the U.S. via Newfoundland, struggled through the harsh realities of the Great Depression. His mother worked menial jobs, while his father, often unemployed, eventually found work as a bank guard in New York City. Hard times built tough men, and young Kevin was no exception. He played baseball on the sandlots of Brooklyn, his natural talent shining so brightly that he earned an athletic scholarship to Adelphi Academy, a rare feat in those days. Upon graduation, more than 25 colleges came knocking, eager to sign the gifted athlete. Connors chose Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey, where he expanded his skill set, adding basketball to his arsenal. He became a driving force behind Seton Hall's rise as a basketball powerhouse, and it was there that he picked up the nickname Chuck, a name that would stick with him for life. But Connors wasn't just a jock, he had a way with words. Enrolled as an English major, he surprised even himself when he entered and won an elocution contest as a freshman, delivering Vachel Lindsay's Congo with such power that it made him consider a career in acting. That thought lingered in the back of his mind as life took him down an entirely different road. In 1940, Connors was signed as an amateur free agent by the Brooklyn Dodgers, but by 1942, he had moved to the New York Yankees minor league system. Just as his sports career was picking up steam, World War II intervened. In October 1942, he enlisted in the U.S. Army, serving at Fort Knox, Camp Campbell, and later West Point, where he trained soldiers in tank warfare. Even in uniform, his love for sports never wavered. By night, he played professional basketball, and by summer, he was out on the field playing semi-pro baseball. After his discharge in 1946, Connors wasted no time getting back into the game. He joined the Boston Celtics, making history as the first NBA player to shatter a backboard, but baseball was still calling his name. In 1949, he finally got his shot at the major leagues with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Though his time with the team was brief, he went on to play for the Chicago Cubs in 1951, appearing in 66 games as a first baseman and pinch hitter. Then, fate stepped in. Connors was sent down to the Los Angeles Angels, a minor league club in the Pacific Coast League. For many players, a demotion would have been a career low, but for Connors, it was the greatest twist of fate he could have asked for. Los Angeles wasn't just a baseball city, it was the heart of the movie business. Looking back in 1954, Connors said, "Greatest break I ever got. I'm out there right in the middle of the movie business, where if a guy has anything, he's got the chance to break in." And break in, he did. Connors wasn't just another ball player who dabbled in acting. He was a rare breed, one of only 12 athletes in American history to have played in both Major League Baseball and the NBA. But his impact on the sports world didn't end when he left the field. Decades later, in 1966, Connors played a crucial behind-the-scenes role in resolving a high-stakes contract dispute between the Los Angeles Dodgers star pitchers Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax, and team ownership. His love for sports never faded, even after he swapped his baseball glove for a six-shooter. While starring in The Rifleman, one of television's most beloved westerns, Connors made sure to bring his sports roots with him. He invited legends like Don Drysdale, Duke Snider, and Football Hall of Famer Sid Gilman to guest star on the show, blending his two worlds in a way that only he could. But how did a slugging first baseman and backboard-shattering NBA player become one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood? Fate stepped in on a California baseball field. Connor's first role. While playing in Southern California, an MGM casting director spotted Connor's towering 6 feet 5 inches frame and saw potential far beyond the dugout. The result? A small role as a police captain in the sports-themed romantic comedy Pat and Mike, 1952, starring Hollywood royalty, Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. The film featured a lineup of famous athletes, but Connors stood out in a way that made people take notice. That was all the encouragement he needed. Connors hung up his glove and spikes for good, shifting his full focus to acting. Hollywood welcomed him with open arms. In 1953, he landed a role alongside Burt Lancaster in South Seas Woman, proving he had the chops to hold his own with A-list talent. Then came 1957, the year Connors cemented his place in cinematic history. He starred in the Disney classic Old Yeller, a film that remains one of the most beloved and heartbreaking stories ever brought to the screen. That same year, he also appeared in the western The Hired Gun. Chuck Connors was never one to be boxed in. Whether it was sports, Hollywood, or even the business side of the game, he played by his own rules and always left his mark. The Rifleman role. Sometimes the perfect role finds the perfect actor. That's exactly what happened when Chuck Connors landed the part of Lucas McCain in The Rifleman, the widowed rancher raising his son in the rough-and-tumble American frontier of the 1880s. Connors beat out more than 40 actors for the role, and in hindsight, it's hard to imagine anyone else filling McCain's boots. His frame, rugged build, and natural charisma made him an obvious fit. But it was his performance as Bern Sanderson in Old Yeller that sealed the deal. When producers of The Rifleman saw Connors portraying a strong father figure on the big screen, they knew they had found their man. Initially, Connors had turned down their offer because it simply didn't pay as well as his freelance acting work. But after watching Old Yeller, the producers sweetened the deal, offering him a higher salary and a rare 5% ownership stake in the show. That decision would pay off in a big way. When The Rifleman premiered in 1958, it was an instant hit, ranking number 1. Fourth in the Nielsen ratings, trailing only Gunsmoke, Wagon Train, and Have Gun, Will Travel. The show was incredible as it was the first television series to center on a single father raising a young child. Johnny Crawford, a former Mouseketeer and baseball fan, won the role of Mark McCain, Lucas's son, beating out 40 other hopefuls. Their father-son chemistry became one of the show's greatest strengths, mirroring Connors' own life as a real-life father of 4 boys. Connors was all in. He learned to shoot and performed his own stunts, making the rifle work an unforgettable part of the show. The title, The Rifleman, wasn't just for show. Lucas McCain wielded a modified Winchester Model 1892 rifle, an anachronism for the show's 1880s setting, but a visually stunning centerpiece. The gun featured a lever-action modification that allowed Connors to rapid-fire in the opening credits, a trick that immediately set him apart from the usual TV cowboys. He even perfected the spin-cocking technique, cycling the action one-handed, a move that became one of the show's signature visuals. For many baseball players, the transition to acting might seem like a stretch, but for Chuck Connors, it was second nature. His natural showmanship on the field earned him the nickname the Laurence Olivier of the Diamond, a title bestowed by his teammates thanks to his dramatic reactions when called out on strikes. As Connors himself joked, anytime a batter is called out on strikes, he acts plenty when he returns to the dugout. But once he traded in his baseball glove for a cowboy hat, there was no looking back. As Lucas McCain in The Rifleman, Connors became a television icon, embodying strength, justice, and fatherhood in a way that clicked with audiences. The series followed McCain, a widowed rancher in 1880s New Mexico, as he balanced frontier justice with raising his young son, Mark, played by Johnny Crawford. Their on-screen chemistry translated into a genuine off-screen friendship. Connors even invited Crawford on camping trips with his own sons. That bond endured until Connors' passing in 1992, when Crawford gave a heartfelt eulogy at his memorial service. Throughout its 5-season run, 1958 to 1963, The Rifleman remained a top-rated series until it was ultimately overshadowed by the return of Lucille Ball in The Lucy Show. After 168 episodes, the show came to an end, but Connors' legacy as Lucas McCain was already set in stone. 3 custom Winchester Model 1892 rifles were used throughout the series, 2 standard .44-40 models for filming, and a Spanish-made El Tigre version for McCain's saddle holster. The round lever was later replaced with a D-shaped one, allowing for even smoother action. 2 additional rifles were made exclusively for Connors by master gunsmith Maurice "Mo" Hunt. These were never used on the show, but remained prized personal keepsakes. One of those rifles was eventually gifted to golf legend Arnold Palmer, a close friend of Connors and an honorary chairman of his annual Chuck Connors charity golf event. Today, that rifle remains on display at the World Golf Hall of Fame. From the baseball diamond to the basketball court, and from the battlefields of World War II to the dusty trails of the Wild West, Chuck Connors lived a life as larger than life as the characters he played. The Rifleman may have ended in 1963, but its legacy and Connors' legendary presence will never fade. Beyond the Rifleman. While the Rifleman cemented Connors' place in TV history, he wasn't a one-role actor. Even while starring in the series, he took on major film roles, including the title role in Geronimo, 1962, and a supporting turn in the James Garner Doris Day comedy Move Over, Darling, 1963. After The Rifleman ended in 1963, Chuck Connors moved on to Arrest and Trial, playing attorney Jim Egan in a legal drama that lasted 1 season. He returned to the Western genre with Branded, portraying Jason McCord, a former U.S. cavalry officer wrongly accused of cowardice. In Cowboy in Africa, he took on the role of Jim Sinclair, an American cowboy managing a ranch in Kenya. His most critically acclaimed role came in 1977 when he played the slave owner Tom Moore in Roots, earning an Emmy nomination. Throughout the 1980s, he continued making TV appearances with roles in The Yellow Rose, Werewolf, and Guns of Paradise. Connors' contributions to television and westerns were recognized with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1984. In 1991, one of his final roles was reprising Lucas McCain in The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw, proving that even decades later, the Rifleman remained his most beloved character. When asked if he resented being forever linked to McCain, Connors' response was clear. "I'm proud to be associated with a show that was so admired." That admiration was further validated in 1991, when he was inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. Throughout its 5-year run, The Rifleman featured a remarkable roster of guest stars, blending Hollywood veterans with up-and-coming talent. Familiar faces like John Carradine, Lee Van Cleef, and Denver Pyle made multiple appearances, while rising stars such as James Coburn, Michael Landon, and Dennis Hopper had early roles in the series. The show also welcomed unexpected guests including Sammy Davis Jr. and baseball legends Duke Snider and Don Drysdale, reflecting Chuck Connors' own sports background. Even Buddy Hackett made an appearance, adding a touch of comedy to the Western drama. These guest roles contributed to the show's lasting appeal, making The Rifleman a defining series of its era. Few opening sequences in television history are as iconic as The Rifleman's. From the very first moment, viewers knew they were in for something special, as Lucas McCain, played by Chuck Connors, strode down the dusty street of North Fork. His Winchester 1892 rifle roared to life, rapid-firing with a speed and precision that instantly set him apart from every other gunslinger on TV. But what made this rifle so unique? And how did a former baseball player end up wielding it so effortlessly? The secret behind McCain's lightning-fast rifle. In the golden age of TV westerns, every show needed a gimmick to stand out. Gunsmoke had its gritty realism. Bonanza had the family dynamic. The Rifleman? It had the most famous firearm on television. McCain's rifle was a modified Winchester Model 1892, chambered in .44-40 caliber. What made it special was a trigger-set screw, an ingenious addition that allowed Connors to fire the rifle simply by cycling the lever. This modification meant he could unleash a full magazine of shots in under 6 seconds, something that became the show's signature spectacle. During the opening credits, McCain fired 12 shots, 7 in the first close-up, followed by 5 more as the camera switched angles. In reality, the magazine couldn't hold that many rounds, but shorter blank cartridges allowed for the illusion of continuous fire. To top it off, the soundtrack even dubbed in a 13th shot to sync perfectly with the music. Connors' ability to handle the gun so naturally wasn't just acting, it was athleticism. Before becoming a Hollywood star, Connors played professional baseball and basketball. That hand-eye coordination paid off, especially when he was put on the spot during his audition. Legend has it that the director tossed him the rifle unexpectedly. Connors caught it mid-air, cocked it with one smooth motion, and fired, sealing the role on the spot. He also had to learn to shoot ambidextrously, as the Rifleman often depicted McCain switching hands in a gunfight. This added flair to his character and made him seem even more skilled. More than just a gun. At the end of the day, the Rifleman wasn't just about an impressive firearm, it was about the man who wielded it. Chuck Connors' performance, combined with that unforgettable opening sequence, cemented the show as one of the most beloved westerns of all time. Great television isn't just about a strong lead, it's about the talent behind the camera as well. The Rifleman may have been Chuck Connors' show, but it was shaped by some of the most skilled writers and directors of the time, including a future Hollywood legend. The journey began with The Sharpshooter, a pilot episode that first aired on Dick Powell's Zane Grey Theater in 1958. It was written by none other than Sam Peckinpah, the man who would later redefine the Western genre with The Wild Bunch. The story was gripping enough to launch The Rifleman as a standalone series, with the episode reworked as its official premiere on ABC. A young Dennis Hopper guest starred, setting the stage for the high-caliber performances that would become a hallmark of the show. Beyond Lucas and Mark McCain, North Fork was brought to life by a strong supporting cast. Paul Fix's portrayal of Marshal Micah Torrance gave the town its quiet authority, while Bill Quinn's Sweeney, the bartender, was always ready with a drink and a bit of wisdom. Hope Summers, Joan Taylor, and Patricia Blair added depth and charm as the strong-willed women who ran North Fork's general store, each bringing a different dynamic to Lucas's life. The town banker, the hotel manager, and even the occasional troublemaker made North Fork feel real, a place where justice and family values intertwined. Behind the camera, the Rifleman boasted a roster of top-tier directors. Joseph H. Lewis, a filmmaker known for his sharp visual storytelling and film noir expertise, helmed 51 episodes, ensuring the series had a cinematic quality that stood out among TV westerns. Ida Lupino, one of Hollywood's first female directors, brought her signature tension and psychological depth to the episode The Assault, proving that The Rifleman wasn't just about action, it was about character. Even Robert Culp, best known for his work in I Spy, contributed as a writer, penning a memorable 2-part episode. Frank D. Gilroy, who would go on to create Burke's Law, also left his mark on the series with the episode End of a Young Gun. Chuck Connors himself wasn't just the star. He took an active role in shaping the show's stories, writing several episodes, and ensuring that the Rifleman stayed true to its mix of action, morality, and heartfelt storytelling. That dedication, both in front of and behind the camera, is what made the series more than just another Western. It made it a classic. Chuck Connors in Branded. The Rifleman may be Chuck Connors' claim to fame and his greatest contribution to the Western genre, but it's far from the only show in his career worth watching. Beyond his 5-season run as the sharpshooting Lucas McCain in the hit ABC series, Connors took on another leading role in a lesser-known, but still compelling, Western show titled Branded. While it never quite reached the legendary status of The Rifleman, Branded remains an intriguing and underrated entry in Connors' television legacy. Though Connors appeared in a handful of memorable Western films, such as The Big Country, he never quite achieved A-list status in Hollywood. Instead, he found his niche in television, where his rugged charisma and commanding presence truly shined. The Rifleman cemented his reputation as a TV Western icon, making him a household name during the late 1950s and early 1960s. While the show was immensely popular, it didn't enjoy the same extended run as other Western classics like Gunsmoke or Bonanza. However, Connors soon found himself leading another Western adventure, one that offered him a fresh, yet equally intense role. 2 years after The Rifleman ended in 1963, Connors returned to the small screen as Jason McCord, the central character in NBC's Branded. This gripping black-and-white series introduced viewers to a disgraced United States Army officer. Wrongly accused of desertion, McCord was court-martialed, humiliated, and cast out, all because he chose to take the fall for his commanding officer's mistakes. Branded as a coward, he was forced to wander a hostile world where his name was synonymous with disgrace. While Branded and The Rifleman were different in many ways, the two shows shared a vital link: Chuck Connors himself. Both series placed him front and center, allowing his rugged charm and natural screen presence to flourish. Westerns were the perfect vehicle for Connors, and he brought an undeniable intensity to both roles. Over the course of 2 seasons and 48 episodes, Branded carved out its own identity. Unlike The Rifleman, which focused on McCain's life on his ranch and his relationship with his son, Branded adopted a more nomadic structure. McCord, a man without a home, moved from place to place, encountering new faces and fresh challenges in every episode. This dynamic storytelling approach allowed for a wider variety of adventures, as McCord's journey brought him into contact with different characters and situations week after week. Despite its shorter lifespan, Branded remains an important part of Chuck Connors' legacy, giving fans another chance to see him embody the archetypal Western hero. Flawed yet noble, outcast yet determined. It may not have achieved the legendary status of The Rifleman, but it stands as a testament to Connors' enduring appeal in the genre that defined his career. Connors' tumultuous relationships. Chuck Connors was married 3 times throughout his life. His first marriage was to Elizabeth Jane Riddell Connors, whom he met in Montreal while playing in the minor leagues. The two tied the knot in 1948 and remained together until 1961. During their 13-year marriage, they welcomed 4 sons: Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, and Kevin. As The Rifleman was nearing the end of its run, Connors secured a leading role in Geronimo, a major Western film produced by United Artists in 1962. The casting was controversial. One of television's most recognizable cowboys was set to portray the legendary Bedonkohe Apache leader. While Connors' casting was an example of Hollywood's unfortunate history of whitewashing, Geronimo stood out as one of the first films to portray Native American characters in a more sympathetic light. Initially, the film's producers sought to cast Hollywood veteran Linda Darnell as the female lead, Tila. However, they ultimately chose a fresh face, Kamala Devi, an actress born in Mumbai, India. Her casting was unusual for the time, as Hollywood rarely sought out authentic non-Western talent for prominent roles. It was a different era indeed. Connors and Devi's connection was instant, and their relationship quickly blossomed. On April 10, 1963, his 42nd birthday, Connors married Devi, marking the beginning of a new chapter in both their lives, personally and professionally. Around this time, Connors was a heavy smoker, consuming up to 3 packs of Camel cigarettes a day, a habit he began in 1940. Devi soon found her footing in Hollywood, landing small roles in popular television shows. In 1964, she played an Indian woman in My Three Sons, Stone Frog, and appeared alongside her husband in his legal drama Arrest and Trial, though the series lasted only 1 season. She continued making guest appearances on hit shows like The Rogues, I Spy, and The Man from UNCLE. But her most memorable moments came in Branded, the Western that brought Connors back to familiar territory. In the multi-episode arc The Mission, she played Lorette Lansing, an old flame of Jason McCord, Connors, sharing what may have been his most passionate on-screen kiss. She later returned for The Assassins, a 2-part episode credited to Connors himself, making it clear he played a role in bringing her back. By 1966, Devi had become an American citizen, a milestone that coincided with Connors' active campaigning for Ronald Reagan's California gubernatorial bid. In 1967, following the cancellation of Branded, Connors found himself starring in Cowboy in Africa, a vehicle that reunited him with creator Ivan Tors. The two had previously collaborated on Flipper, filmed right about the time that Devi and Connors married. Devi appeared in 1 episode playing Makoru. It would be her last screen credit. Connors and Devi divorced in 1972. Chuck's third and final marriage was to Faith Quabius, another actress. They met while filming Soylent Green and were married from 1977 to 1979. Connors and Soviet ties. Connors was a supporter of the Republican Party and attended several fundraisers for campaigns for U.S. President Richard M. Nixon. He also backed Barry Goldwater in the 1964 United States presidential election and Gerald Ford in the 1976 presidential election. He campaigned for Ronald Reagan, a personal friend, and marched in support of the Vietnam War in 1967. Leonid Brezhnev, the leader of the Soviet Union, met Connors when Brezhnev arrived on Air Force One at El Toro Marine Corps Air Station with President Richard Nixon in June 1973. Brezhnev noticed Connors in the group on the tarmac waiting to receive him and the president. Brezhnev shook Connors' hand, then wrapped his arms around him and leapt into Connors' arms to be lifted up by the hulking American actor. The crowd laughed and clapped at the spectacle. Later, at a party given by Nixon at the Western White House in San Clemente, California, Connors presented Brezhnev with a pair of Colt Single-Action Army 6-shooters, revolvers, which Brezhnev liked greatly. Few American television programs were permitted to be broadcast in the Soviet Union at that time. The Rifleman was an exception, because it happened to be Brezhnev's favorite show. Connors and Brezhnev got along so well that Connors accepted an invitation to visit the Soviet leader in Moscow in December 1973. After Brezhnev's death in 1982, Connors expressed an interest in returning to the Soviet Union for the General Secretary's funeral, but the U.S. government would not allow Connors to be part of the official delegation. On July 18, 1984, Connors was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 6838 Hollywood Boulevard. Over 200 close friends attended, including his family and actor Johnny Crawford. Connors hosted the annual Chuck Connors Charitable Invitational Golf Tournament through the Chuck Connors Charitable Foundation at the Canyon Country Club in Palm Springs, California. Proceeds went directly to the Angel View Crippled Children's Foundation, and over $400,000 was raised. Despite quitting his heavy smoking habit in the mid-1970s, Connors occasionally relapsed, claiming to limit himself to 1 cigarette a day. This prolonged tobacco use took a toll on his health. He was hospitalized with pneumonia 3 weeks before his death from lung cancer on November 10, 1992, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, at the age of 71. He is buried in the San Fernando Mission Cemetery. Did you enjoy watching The Rifleman? Drop a comment below. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more juicy Hollywood stories. Click on the next video. You won't want to miss it.